Hello everybody, welcome if you're joining me live, and welcome to the replay if you're watching this on the replay. I am Facebook living from the group how to get basically clients in 30 days or less, and also answering the question of why we procrastinate and have all those things that are kind of set on our virtual shelves gathering dust, and we're not basically implementing them. Yeah, why do we do that? So my name's Emma Combs, if you don't know who I am, from emmacombs.com, and I help conscious entrepreneurs, spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches get more clients for their bank account and fund their travel addiction. And just ask me any questions either live, or you can ask me on the replay if you're watching this on the replay, because I know it's kind of early, probably in the US time, and I'll answer any questions you've got just in the comments below this video, okay? So we'll get started, and the first thing that really I want to talk to you about is the foundational pieces that are going to make the difference between you making, getting clients in, making sales and getting money in your bank account, and not doing that, and putting posts out on Facebook and they're just tanking and no one responding to them at all. Basically, you start with, I've got notes over here, so that's why I'm looking to the side. You start with the ideal client, right? And the thing is, you need to get so clear on this, who this person is. You need to kind of get into their sort of unconscious thought processes. So it's not just their pain points that you need to know, but you kind of need to know who they are, like what their problems are, but also the language that they're actually speaking as well. So people often think of things like, where they are in the country, or, oh, I think my ideal client wants this, and this is what I'm going to say that I'm offering to them. But often we don't realise what it actually is that they want. So my sort of advice to you is really get really clear about who your ideal client is. Make sure that it's one person, because so often, hi George Marsh, I can see kind of people popping up at the bottom joining, but I'm not sure if everyone's popping up down there. But yeah, just I was going to say, type in the chat if you can see me and hear me okay as well, that'd be great. But basically, always remember to focus on one person, because so many people, they say that, yeah, I've got this one ideal client, but it's a whole group of people that they're kind of like merging together into this, this idea of this ideal client. If you can really get specific on one person, and I know it's really, really scary, because people always say, okay, the thing is, the more specific I am, the less clients I'm going to have. That's not the case at all. The more specific you are, the more people you're actually going to speak to, because the more specific you are, the more people will resonate with what you're saying, because you'll feel like, yeah, she gets me, or he gets me. Oh my God, how did they know that about me? And all this kind of stuff. So really just decide on one specific person that you want to help, who has this, one challenge, and you have the solution for it. And another real key tip is to make sure that whatever you're fixing for them is an urgent problem in their life. So for example, just, if you're describing things, and this is something I'll go into later, like the language you're using as just making people happy, is that really an urgent problem? It might be for some, it might not be for others. So really just think about what you can help people with, and basically the solutions that you provide, and who in your world of ideal clients would that be a really urgent problem for? Because you really need to focus on the fact that it has to be urgent, because they have to be willing to invest the time and the money and everything else in working with you to get it fixed and solved. So that's a really big one, okay? Another thing I'd say is, apart from just having that one ideal client, is write down all the things that you can think about to do with your ideal client. Get really crystal clear, and actually put it in paper. Don't just, go over it in your own head. Make sure it's in on paper, or on a computer or wherever, and just keep going back to that every time you write copy, or you're writing a Facebook post or a blog post or anything like that. Make sure you're going back to this sort of thing that you've written down that really describes your ideal client, their pain points, what they want, what they think they want, what they think they need, and what they actually need. And there's some of the things that I really suggest you look into, because often what our clients will think they need aren't always what they actually need. Hi Aska. For example, right, say, actually I think Aska, you're a relationship coach, so it's ironic you just turned up, but one of the examples I was going to give is basically for a relationship coach, say, and you're dealing with, say, your ideal client is a woman that, keeps going for the wrong guys all the time, and they're just not committing to her and everything else. She might think that she just needs to find the right guy, right? In her head, she just needs to find the right guy. She just keeps going for the wrong guys. But in reality, what she really needs is, to change her belief systems, her model of what men might be, maybe maybe the way she's attracting guys into her life, you know, all these kind of unconscious processes that we all have as to, you know, who we attract to us basically. But she might not know that yet. So another good question to ask yourself, if she doesn't know that yet, is that what you want to be advertising, or do you just want to advertise that actually, you know, to get them through the door, it's kind of like, actually, you know, I can help you find the love of your life, and we'll make sure that you choose the right guy, because she doesn't understand that actually she needs to do something beyond just choosing the right guy to fix her problem, if that makes any sense. Because we obviously, as, you know, coaches or therapists or healers or whatever you are, have a solution that they don't actually understand that they necessarily need. So just be aware of that as well. What is it that you know they need, and what is it that they think they need as well? That's like kind of a really big one as well, just in terms of describing. And another little tip I will say, which I say to a lot of my clients, which is really important, because people get very caught up on how they are marketing themselves, and we all want to be ourselves, our true selves. We all want to, you know, be authentic and be genuine, and that's totally important, and I'm all for that. The thing I'd say is, though, as you know, and I give an example of, you think of like, I'm English, so I refer to Doctor Who, you might not know who that is, but if you think of films like Harry Potter or The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, all of them went into this magical kingdom or this magical land, this whole entire different world, right? But they went through a very narrow doorway. And to get people into your world, you need to lead them through a very narrow doorway. And that narrow doorway is the marketing things that actually work. And it might seem counterintuitive if you've got a spiritual edge, or you are, you know, wanting to be really authentic in yourself. But the truth is, when we buy from our reptilian brain, this point at the back, this kind of emotional brain at the back. We don't buy from our like higher frontal cortex and stuff. So when you're dealing with you know, helping people, like basically, and trying to, you know, fix their problems and create solutions and like make a difference in their lives, you have to know that they're still going to be buying from you from this kind of point of their brain, which is a very emotional part. And it's also not the most, I won't say the most spiritual, it's one of the most ancient parts of our brain. So it's kind of like, you still have to use some of the I don't use the word techniques, but some of the techniques that work. I don't reinvent the wheel. Just go with what works to get them into your world. Once they're in your world, you open them up to everything that you do as a person. But the things that you might be advertising or marketing to them are very specific things that they think they need. And so it's not maybe the time to bring them into absolutely everything that you do when you're just trying to get them in that front door. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so basically, yeah, so I said about writing it down on paper. Make sure that you're writing down all the ideal client stuff on paper. I actually have a blog post that I will link to after this live stream in the comments below this feed, somewhere down there, and it's basically just got an ideal client cheat sheet on it, which you can download if you want and read through the article, and that might be helpful in terms of filling some stuff out as well to get really clear. So as I said, yeah, always speak to one ideal client as well. And another thing is to listen to their own language. Like, a really great way to do this is obviously to do that whole market research part, whether you're asking in Facebook groups or getting people on like free mini coaching sessions is a great way. Because when you do that and you just give away value for free without any kind of pitch involved, just like even 15-20 minutes if you want to, you get to hear what they're saying about their problem. And that's a big thing, because we often use language that we think, sometimes we're thinking in industry speak or anything like that, but you've got to think of what are the actual words they're using to describe their problem, and what are the words they're using to describe the solution that they're looking for. You've got to make sure that you're speaking in terms of what they are actually saying, because it will really resonate with them so much more when you're thinking about ideal clients. Okay, so that's definitely a big point. And another thing, this is kind of getting into the copywriting side of things, which is what I've been really interested in the past like year, because copywriting is so important and it often gets forgotten. Like, I've done a lot of business courses myself where it didn't get taught, and it's one of the most important pieces. Okay. This is kind of why I preach on about it quite a bit, is one, okay, results-based language. You need to speak in terms of results, not in terms of the process that you're using. And a lot of people get caught up in the how, like, you know, how they're doing something, but that's not important. They don't care about how you get them the result, as long as it's, you know, not something crazy. They just want the result, right? So you have to speak in terms of results-based language. And like I said before, think about how they are describing that result, because it might not be what you think sometimes, because there's a lot of people out there as well describing things like, you know, happiness or like stepping into that higher purpose or something like that. I know as a spiritual entrepreneur, I used to do that myself. This is what I always say about this point too. or anything intangible doesn't really have the same effect as something tangible. And I'll give you an example as to why. Is, say again, give the example of a, well, it's two examples. If I use the term something like stepping into your power, for example, I help people step into their power, which I used to use, right? I used to say this. Now, you think about an ideal client. If I had an ideal client and I was a relationship coach and that person was in an abusive relationship, stepping into their power would look really different to, say, if I was working with an entrepreneur and they stepped into their power. You see how the results are totally different, because an entrepreneur probably is going to get, more business, more money in their bank account. That's the result. The person, in an abusive relationship is probably either going to get out of the relationship or heal the relationship they're in. They're actually the tangible results, not the stepping into the power bit. Does that make sense to you? Because you've got to look at it like this tangible results-based language that you want to speak. And if you're not sure what the results like, that's why you have to get really crystal clear as to one ideal client. Because when you know that one ideal client, you know what the result looks like, and you've got to really describe the best result they can get, not just like if or maybes or anything like that. Just really describe the final result that they could potentially get with working with you for, like, say 3 or 6 months, however long your packages are. But make sure results-based language, because anything that's intangible or describing process is not going to work as well. And you really need to focus on that in all your copy, every single Facebook post, if it's like a any kind of post that's made to kind of like attract ideal clients, emails, blog posts, anything and everything you do has to revert back to that results-based language. And it's okay to teach them things, obviously, like I'm teaching you stuff here today, obviously, but when you're trying to advertise something, just speak in terms of results, and it will really get you better kind of results in your own business, rather than just people not really understanding what you do or anything like that. Okay, so that is definitely a massive one. And another thing that a copywriter taught me, actually, and this was something I was doing again, these are some of the mistakes obviously I've made in the past, is don't go too heavy into their pain points. Like, you can touch on them, but the thing really you've got to focus on is basically being aware that if you go too heavy into the pain points and you don't deal so much with a positive results-based language, sometimes you can find that you attract clients that are kind of more in victim consciousness. So if you just like touch on the pain points and then really focus on the results and on people that are really willing to change and get results in their lives and really want the sort of result that you offer, you'll get people that are really driven and motivated to do the work and to change and everything else. If you do focus too much on the kind of the pain points, the insecurities, the doubts, the fears and everything like that, which I have done but in the past, and I've seen actually I've attracted people to me that basically either were in a state of victim consciousness or just weren't willing to do the work as much and things like that, and basically are kind of, I don't know how to put it, but not forward thinking in terms of actually getting to a solution point. So definitely, think about that as well in your marketing, where how much pain point kind of like literature you're putting out there and how much you're really focusing on the results and on people that want to get results and, move forward and change in their lives as well. That's a really big thing to think about if you are speaking to pain points in any of your copy as well. And just two people that I've got as examples, really, two people that I've learnt a lot from is Stella Orange, which you can go to her site, and Bushra Azir. They give a lot of free stuff away. They're awesome. They're both kind of funny and just really quirky and cool copywriters. So if you want to learn more about copywriting, because really copy is so important to everything you do ever in the entire world when it comes to your business, you can go and learn from them, because they're obviously more expertise at it than me. It's just and they, like I say, they give away a lot of free PDFs and everything else that are really, really useful as well. So you can go and I'll put their names down below as well after this if you want, and you can go and check them out too, because they are really cool. Another thing, really, so when you're talking about your message and what you do, make sure it's very clear. Make sure it's something that you could describe to a 5-year-old, and they would get what you do. No industry speak, get rid of any kind of words you're using like that. Really important. And test it out. Basically, like, you can go into Facebook groups or wherever you are, or just ask people in your like local community or people that you know that might be struggling with a problem, does this make sense? Do you get what I do? Do you understand what I'm doing when I say that I help blah blah blah? When you do the whole elevator pitch palaver thing, right? Do people get what you do? Do they get who you're working with? Do they get what results you get them? Is it really obvious and easy to understand? That's a big one. So just test it out if you're not sure, because the easier it is to understand, the better, because people realize, wow, I need that. I can work with her or him. Okay. And then after this is kind of the basis for me, like the ideal client. When you're really clear on your ideal client, you're clear in your message, and you're clear and your copy is good on your website, sales pages, Facebook posts, whatever. All of that stuff, that is the foundational piece. When you have that in place, then it's really just about going out there and attracting clients to you. And I'm going to teach you now some sort of quick and easy ways to get clients coming through the doors quickly that you can definitely do in 30 days or less. In fact, probably in a week or less. And people have done it in a week or less, definitely. So these are just some of the techniques that I've learned, and they're really, they're relationship based, obviously, and they're really good. And we'll start with the most obvious, which is Facebook, which is why we're all here at the end of the day. But the thing with Facebook is, one, don't get lost in the Facebook news stream, because it's so often, we all do that as entrepreneurs. We're probably bright, shiny object seekers, and we just go off. I know I do all the time on tangents, just like, oh my God, look at that post. And then before you know it, you're there for an hour and you don't know work. So just time yourself. Like, you can put timers on, put a timer on your phone. You can get apps that have timers on them, like Pomodoro or something like that. And just literally do 15 minutes twice a day or 3 times a day if you're really active on Facebook or wherever your social media channels are. Because remember, go where your ideal people are. If they're not on Facebook, don't be hanging out on Facebook all day. Go wherever they are, whether that's LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever, right? But time yourself. Make sure you're posting. I suggest like 1 to 3 groups, no more. You could go up to 5, but it depends on the size of the group really as well. But I say start with 3 groups that you really love and you really know that your ideal clients are in there. If you're not dealing with entrepreneurs, don't be posting all day in entrepreneurial groups, because your ideal clients aren't there. Go to where the groups are that your ideal clients are. And if you can't find any, create your own. That's a really good one, and build that up, and look into ways of like creating a Facebook group and building that up, because like I say, I see people posting in entrepreneurial groups that isn't to do with stuff that entrepreneurs, business kind of stuff. And that is really cool if you're still going after entrepreneurs, but just make sure that you're also posting in groups that are where your ideal clients really are, okay? So make sure you're doing that. I say 1 to 3 groups. Make sure you're posting every day your own content. And then also like interacting with the group, and not just liking posts, not just posting and running, but actually commenting on other people's posts, helping them out, offering value as well, and just building relationships within that group, whether that's with the group owner or also, with people coming in and asking questions. Offer value. Like if your ideal clients are in there, you could be such a valuable commodity in that group and really show your expertise by taking the time out, like I say, every day, like 2 or 3 times a day, going in there and just answering people's questions, posting your own content, like I say, and just really being of value to people in there and building relationships with people. Because again, you could be like getting into partnerships with people in those groups. If they have a kind of like business that's kind of complementary to your own, not necessarily a direct competitor or anything like that, but something that's complementary to you. You can obviously like do exchanges, blog post exchanges or anything like that. Or just there could be ideal clients obviously in there. That's the whole idea of it, is to attract people to you and make offers. And just make sure you're in there doing that every day. And consistency as well is key with Facebook. Really try and get in there consistently. And like, that's why I say, try and keep it to 3 groups, because otherwise we can get so lost in being everywhere and not being in certain places enough. And I know sometimes that's something I've definitely done in the past, and now I'm really concentrating on certain groups, and it makes a massive difference. So make sure you're doing that. Another thing is, don't just post motivational posts, because I see a lot of people kind of posting posts that are motivational and just like kind of little tips here and there, which are fantastic, and I definitely recommend you do that every day. But make sure you're also posting that are really, really valuable, like things that are valuable to your ideal client. Actually give them really valuable information, because the biggest thing that's going to attract someone to you is the fact that they realize that, wow, you know what I need to know, or you have the answer to my problem. And people are scared to do this because they think like, okay, well, if I give all my knowledge away, no one's going to come and want to work with me. But that's not true, because often what they'll think is, wow, she really knows what I need to know. I'm going to go and work with her because she can give me the answers. Because like you might have experienced in group coaching programs, you might have gone through a group coaching program even that you might have even paid for, but it's still not the same as having someone one-to-one kind of with the accountability and really taking a personal look at your own business, or, a personal look into your own life, or whatever it is you're doing. it's very different to just getting answers, you know, on a Facebook post or something like that. So don't be scared about giving value and really offering posts that give high value, because you'll get so many more people, like, you know, noticing you as well in the whole Facebook world by doing that. So that's a really key tip as well. So just scrolling down here. Basically, yeah, the next one I'm going to come to with Facebook is about asking. A lot of us don't, I see people posting all the time, but they're not always asking for things like kind of promoting their own programs or their own offers, or even like discovery sessions, or, you know, get acquainted calls, or whatever you call them. People aren't actually asking people to come and work with them. So they'll put themselves out there for the whole know, like, trust value, but they're not actually asking people to work with them in any way. So they forget the whole asking part. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs do this. A lot of often, like, the more spiritual or heart-based entrepreneurs do this because they feel bad trying to be salesy or something. But if you don't sell, you don't have a business. If you don't sell, you don't have clients, and you need those people to help pay your bills and everything else. So it's really important to just get comfortable with asking for the sale. And also, you know, like, when there are days, obviously certain groups have certain rules, and always abide by that. And obviously don't be spammy or sleazy or salesy at all. It's all about building relationships. But when the days are there to offer things, go into those groups and offer things that you have available. And a big tip I'd say actually is make sure you have something available, because there's a lot of people out there that, I know I did this when I first started several years ago, is I didn't have a package to sell, kind of thing. So sometimes we just go in and expect people to want to work with us, but we don't necessarily have something tangible they can see, that even on our websites or wherever it might be, that they can actually sign up for. So just be aware of, like, what, you know, is it obvious to the person you're advertising to, wherever that might be, that you actually have something to sell and you're available for business, kind of thing. So just think about that as well. And like I say, don't be scared to ask for business, for sales and all that kind of stuff, okay? So the next thing is warm letters, and this is something that not a lot of people do. And it can be really powerful, and it's a really good way to get the word out about you, and to kind of touch people in some way, really, because this is all about follow-up, I think. And there's a really awesome book called what is it called? The Referral of a Lifetime. So if you haven't read it, go and read it, because it's amazing. It's all about follow-up and relationship building and you know, like, networking in general, but it's actually done in the story format, so it's absolutely awesome to read. It's so great, and it's totally in integrity and relationship based and everything like that, so it's really cool. But one of the strategies I learned actually from one of my first mentors was about warm letters. And that is literally, if you have their physical address, definitely send them a physical letter, because no one sends physical letters anymore. And we all get so many emails. Emails don't get noticed, but a physical handwritten letter, my God, if you can do that, and I know it might be difficult if you do have a lot of addresses, but if you can do a physical handwritten letter to these people, this would, like, you know, I think this is just like the top thing ever. To receive something like that is so special nowadays, right? But literally go through your contact list, and I don't just mean like business contacts, I mean anybody that you know, like friends and everything, and just write them a letter. And I don't mean in a spammy or sleazy way, obviously. Like, write them a letter, just say hi, you know, whoever it is, you know, connect with them on whatever level. We haven't spoken for X amount of time, or, you know, ask them about themselves, you know, do the whole relationship thing first. And then at the end of the letter, just mention, say, you know, I don't know if you know, I've either just started a business or I've been in business for however long, and I help. Then tell them what you do, who you help, the problem you solve, and basically just say, you know, if you know anybody that has this problem that you think I could help, please do refer me. And, you know, maybe mention if you work over the phone, I work over the phone, or, you know, as well as in person, so it doesn't matter where they are in the country, kind of thing. And just ask people to refer you, and just it's kind of like a keep in touch kind of campaign, or whatever you want to call it, and just keep in touch with people. People forget to follow up with people, and it's so powerful, and people just don't do it. But if you can really write a letter to everybody you can think of, and if you don't have their physical address, yeah, you can, you know, send Send things through Facebook, LinkedIn, or social media channels if you have it. But obviously, try and make it a personal message, or their email. But obviously, if you've got permission to email them, obviously. But I mean, like, either past friends, acquaintances, even school friends, whoever it might be, old business colleagues on LinkedIn, whatever it might be. Just send them a really nice letter and just say, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. I would love it if you ever know of anybody that needs help in this area, to just recommend me that, and if there's ever anything I can do for you, let me know. Obviously, just be of service, come across as being of service, and obviously do the same for them back if they have a business, and say, yeah, it's kind of like a mutual referral thing, and there's no harm in doing that. And it really again, it's a relationship building tool. It gets the word out about what you're doing, and you're reconnecting with older people that you maybe haven't spoken to in some time, and you never know who they know. They might actually need your service themselves. So it's just a real great way to get the word out and really connect and form relationships. And like I say, try and follow up with people as well, as so many people don't do that, and it's just a really nice touch when you have that people are following up, just reaching out to say hi or whatever it might be, and to let them know what's going on for you as well as asking about them, obviously. But it's just a really good technique to use, that you can really get some people recommending and referring you, especially when because you think about it, most people from your past probably don't even know what you're doing now. So it's a great way to kind of just connect in that level. Another thing really to ask is past clients. Now, if you've worked with people in the past, you can just go back to them and say, look, either put together a new package that you think they would really need, and just ask them if they would be interested in working with you further, to fix this next problem or the next level of what you do. Or just even to ask them to recommend you again. Like, I just see so many people that we forget to follow up with people. We think, the sale's done, the person's gone out of our, sphere of whatever, stop working with us, and people don't then follow up. But really, like, which I think is a beautiful thing as well, is to follow up with past clients anyway, like every 3, 6 or whatever months, just to see how they're getting on, just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Because the thing is, one, for me at least, you should have a connection with them that's like that you actually care about where they are in their life and that they're actually doing well. And two, there's a whole thing of that follow-up, and it's like it keeps them like in sort of your relationship together somehow. So then if there are any referrals, they're more natural to refer you, because one, they're remembering you because you're going out of your way just to keep in touch, and two, it's just a really nice thing to do. Like, it's just really lovely to have that kind of relationship with someone and to just actually care about what they're doing, and the changes that you help them make are still in place, and they're still moving forward with their life and everything else. And but that can be so powerful in terms of like having a referral network and people referring you and everything else, and getting clients in that way. And the next thing really is just about asking, like I say, doing discovery calls and making sure, like, if you need clients in your business, you should be doing discovery calls at least every week. And if that's through Facebook, you're advertising those, or maybe you have something on your site as well, is a good place to put it. You could also put it, like, if you have a list and you're sending emails out to your list, you can put it at the bottom of your emails, or you can, like, say, I've got so many spaces for a discovery call this week on your emails. There's so many places you can do. If you're on LinkedIn, obviously do it there. Just make sure that it's obvious to people that you are, I have, however many spots you have available for a discovery call next week. And another thing I'd say is, don't call it a discovery call, because people think they're being sold to. It's actually funny because this came up in another group just before, but to me, like, a discovery call, or what I used to call it a get acquainted call, is, obviously finding out if you're a right fit to work together. There's very specific ways to do it properly. There are people that are not using it properly and are just trying to sell and using pushy sales methods, which isn't cool. Obviously, don't ever do that. Or just kind of desperate to sell, so they're kind of trying to force people into it. Again, that's not cool. It just makes you look desperate. So don't do that either, kind of thing. But there's definitely ways to use them, and maybe I'll give a training next week on how to do discovery calls really well and the kind of right way you do it, so that one, it's in integrity all the way through. Two, the client or the potential client knows what it is and doesn't come there thinking they're just getting a free session, and then they get upset, obviously, if you then try and sell, or you try and sell too, harshly or pushily, because that's not what it's about at all. It's not about really selling to someone. It's about, but it is, it is in itself a sales call. It's about finding out if you're a right fit to work together. And then obviously, if that's the case, then you might move the relationship forward in a more formal kind of way. But if you don't ask about discovery calls, you don't get them. So just make sure that you're focusing on filling your calendar up with discovery calls, with people. Maybe you're meeting, like another thing that I used to do as well, which sometimes still happens, is forming relationships in Facebook groups. And, you know, getting to know people that way. If people friend me on Facebook, I'll often, like, it takes a lot of time now because I get about sometimes like 10 or 20 requests a day, to be honest. When you're active in groups, you'll often find that you get, I'm sure like some people here, maybe you're getting lots of friend requests on Facebook. But what I try and do is actually message the person that has friend requested me and just saying, hi, you know, really lovely to connect with you. I would love to find out about what you do and, you know, who you help and everything else, because normally it's business, obviously. And just connect with them that way and see if there's anything that you can help them with. And I don't mean in a pushy, spammy way. Just say something like, you know, is there ever anything I can help you with, let me know, or just something along those lines. Basically, it's again forming relationships, connecting. So just going over what we've learned so far. Basically, ideal client, massive. Copywriting, massive. Those two names I'll post in this feed after the live stream as well, because they're awesome people to check out. It's Bushra and Stella Orange. They're the kind of foundational pieces with your message. Once you get that clear, it really is about being consistent wherever you are, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, wherever that might be, and always giving, like I say, always asking for kind of a sale, if you like. And I don't mean just being spammy, but asking for a sale, whether that's asking on the offer days in Facebook or like on Instagram, making sure that you have a call to action, whether it's to join your list or whatever that might be, or like your program that you might be offering. So making sure basically the foundational pieces are in place, you're visible, you're consistent, and ultimately that you are asking for the sale in some way, whatever way that fits in your own business, okay? And obviously on specific days if it's in groups and things like that. But make sure you're doing all those things. And the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is the biggest piece ever really in the world, and I would say at least 70% to 80% success of any kind of business, is the mindset piece. And this is what I was saying in one of the groups about, where we have like all this stuff on our virtual shelves and we just don't do it. We procrastinate, we don't implement, we sabotage ourselves by being inconsistent, or we like join group programs or challenges or whatever that might be, and we don't put the techniques into action. Like even what I've shared with you today, are you going to go away and put that into action or not? Or are you going to like listen to it, think, yeah, that's a great idea, and then not do it? Because that's what, you know, we've all been guilty of this. I've been guilty of this too. But it's kind of like the human mind, and this is what happens, okay? Because my training originally was obviously in like hypnotherapy, NLP, and all that kind of stuff. So this is what happened. Our unconscious mind, basically, it doesn't necessarily like change because it wants to keep us kind of safe. So say you know that time at school where you were in the school play or something and you was terrified, or something really embarrassing happened and you never wanted to get on stage again. Well, your unconscious mind is going to stop you from getting on stage again, because it's going to see it as ego death. It will see it as the death of your ego, so it will try and protect you. All it's trying to do is protect you, right? But it will stop us moving forward. It will stop us stepping up, becoming visible, being on live stream like this, being on video even. I know some people don't even like doing videos. Being visible in groups, showing your expertise, and a lot of it is what I've learned to call the self-image blueprint, which is a guy called Maxwell Maltz did a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. It's probably about in the 1960s or maybe even before that, and he really discovered this thing called the self-image blueprint kind of thing in your mind. Is how you see yourself internally. So if you don't see yourself internally as like a successful business owner, you'll do things to sabotage your success, whether that's, like I say, procrastinating, just not offering the sale, just not finishing courses, not implementing, whatever it might be that your pattern is. And we all have little things like this, and we all, you know, no matter what stage of business you get to, there's always like new level, new devil. No matter what stage of income you get to, is another thing I speak about a lot in terms of money mindset. There's always another kind of level to break through, and it's all to do with our unconscious mind and how we see ourselves, the beliefs we hold about ourselves, like even around getting clients. And I always believe, like, I come from kind of the spiritual belief that as within, so without. So whatever's shown up in your outside reality is a reflection of what's going up within you. So if you don't have enough clients, there's something within you that's either believing that you're not good enough, or maybe you don't want to earn certain amounts of money because it doesn't feel safe to you, or maybe you're not worthy, you feel like a fraud, whatever it might be, okay? There's something going on internally within you as to why those clients aren't being attracted to your work, and why. Because basically our beliefs affect our actions. We believe something negative about ourselves, we don't act in a certain way to drive our business forward, and therefore we don't get the results. As simple as that. And if you look at it a law of attraction perspective, we're literally not attracting opportunities or whatever it might be that create that success in our business. So it's really about reprogramming your unconscious mind and the self-image blueprint. And one way that I did this, I tripled my income using this kind of methodology as well. Like, it takes some time, and I guess it takes some practice, but if you think about it like this and you kind of sit there and imagine or just see yourself in your mind's eye as a business owner, and just try and imagine yourself being a successful business owner in your mind. I know it might sound a bit stupid, but imagine yourself and see how that looks. It might be that you can't see it for some reason, or there's a block, or every time you try and see something or other, it doesn't work, or I don't know, like something keeps happening in your imagination. This is all your mind showing you where maybe you have a belief that isn't in alignment with that sort of picture. Also think about what that picture actually might mean for you, because success means different things to different people. But we can all, and you know, maybe you're not the best at visualization, that's okay too, but you can get into a feeling state of having that. And that's the most important thing, and often it can help us kind of drive through any blocks that we're facing in that area. But it's really getting clear on what you would feel, which is the most important thing, and like we can do that through the visualization. What you would feel if you were fully booked and you had, you know, enough clients and you had a great income and everything else. So if you focus on that and just imagine what that would feel like, and just notice, like I say, if there's anything sort of blocking you from that. Maybe it's just that you don't actually sit down and do it. Maybe you just procrastinate and don't try to do it. Maybe you don't do it enough, because it does take time. You need to be doing it every single day. Just imagining yourself having all the clients you need and feeling the feelings of, you know, having enough money or plenty of money coming in, clients just coming to you effortlessly. This is kind of the manifestation part, but it also really shows, it's a physical kind of belief structure part. It really will show where your beliefs are in that area. And just basically try and imagine, I used to imagine myself like in a movie. So obviously you see yourself through your own eyes kind of thing, like you're actually in your body looking out, and just do the things that you'd be doing as a successful business owner. I remember when I was doing this as a teenager and just imagined myself having more confidence, I think in sixth form at the time, and I used to imagine myself going into the sixth form and, you know, talking with confidence and like, you know, cracking jokes with people and doing all the kind of things you do at sixth form, but really confident. And it massively changed my life. Like, I can't even express. It's so powerful. And every single like successful business mentor you listen to them, they will tell you about this part, but not many people are doing it. And I know, because it seems like, well, surely that's not going to make the difference. Surely I have to take action to make the difference. But I'm telling you, when you get into this space and you reprogram your mind, that's when you naturally take the actions that are going to lead to success anyway, because it's like your whole belief system and the way you see yourself, your self-image in your mind is in alignment with that. And this is definitely the most powerful piece. I don't know how else I can explain it to you. I hope that makes sense. If you want to ask me any questions, please do so. I can't see any questions popping up, but you can watch it on the replay and ask me any questions on any of that at all. If you've got any problems in your business, please just ask me and I'll try and answer them. And like I say, next week I might try and do some training on discovery calls, because it's just interesting, just how people see them and how people are using them in kind of the whole coaching word, although I wouldn't necessarily describe myself as a coach, just because I don't, but I know there's a lot of people obviously in that industry, and it's a shame that people are using it maybe in the wrong way. So I think that's also a massive part, is that, you know, you might attract clients to you, but if you get them on a call and you can't convert them into paying clients for whatever reason that is, and it might just be nerves, because so many people are nervous or scared around kind of the whole discovery call, sales call, whatever you want to call it, model. You know, it doesn't have to be that way, basically. So I'd love to share that with you next week. But like I say, ask me any questions below. I know I've gone through this quite quickly. If there's anything else you want to know, please do ask. Like I say, just comment on this below the Facebook feed. I don't know if it's actually showing me, but there's nothing coming up. So I assume no one's asked any questions yet. That's totally cool. But I will speak to you again very soon. Like I say, just ask me below. If you want to PM me, you can. Just let me know that you've PM'd me, because if we're not friends, it will go hidden into some kind of bottomless pit folder that Facebook puts it in, unfortunately. Oh, thank you, Aska. Thanks. You love my hair. Thank you so much. On a video on discovery calls would be awesome. Yeah, definitely. I'll do that next week, because it's so great, and it can be a beautiful process, and people don't... either are scared of it or just use it incorrectly. There's also great people doing it perfectly out there, and it's a really great thing. But I'll definitely try and get that done next week. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'll speak to you soon, and like I say, anything you want to ask me, please do. I'm here for you. And if you haven't introduced yourself in the group, I will put a post out just tagging everybody. Please do introduce yourself. I'd love to know about your business and everything else. How do you sell in groups without coming across like you are just about selling? By offering tons of value. Like I would say, for every post that you're selling on, which obviously should not be every one of them, and a lot of groups don't even allow selling, to be honest. And if I think you're a relationship coach from what I remember, Aska, right? If you're in groups that aren't entrepreneurial, I don't actually hang out in a lot of those groups, to be honest. I'm not sure what the format is, but just offer loads of value and make sure that for every like maybe sales kind of post you're putting out that isn't totally spammy or salesy, you're adding value on other posts. So maybe like a 4-to-1 ratio or something, but depending on how many times a day you're doing it, maybe just like one day a week you're kind of like asking for the sale. And obviously don't do it in a spammy way or a salesy way, like just I don't know, like those old school like sales letters you used to get, obviously something like that. But just maybe invite people, if this is you, like if this is you, that ask the questions, do you have problems with blah, are you this? And really get into the mind of your ideal client. If this is you, and you would like this, whatever the results are they want, I would love to help you. You can either do a free call that isn't a pitch, obviously, with them, and that can just help people then ask to work with you anyway, because that often happens. You just give people free content on a call, like for maybe 20-30 minutes, and people ask how they can work with you anyway. Or you can just offer like a free valuable call that obviously will be a kind of discovery call, in the sense of you can offer them value on the call too. That's another way to do it. And then just ask at the end, there's a way to do it at the beginning, which I'll show you next week, but ask them, would it be something you're looking to wanted to explore further with me, basically, on the call. So just make sure that you're offering lots of value in the group, and a lot of your posts are really valuable in terms of like whatever it is you're fixing for them, the solution, and building relationships with people. And then just like maybe once a week, obviously if it's okay with the group that you're posting in, just put something out that's inviting people into a call with you to explore more about whatever the problem is that you're trying to fix, like if you're a good fit to work together, whatever it is. And like I say, a good thing to do is start with I know that you're in some of the entrepreneurial groups because I think you're in Women Inspiring Women, but watch out what other people do. There's a lot of coaches doing Facebook posts that kind of do lead into a call or lead into something, or get them to sign up for something, or get them to join whatever it might be. I don't know if you have a list or anything like that, or even a group of your own, but it's so easy to do that. Just sort of model what other people are doing, and just maybe you like a certain format, and it says, well, that doesn't feel salesy to me, so maybe you can use that format and put it obviously in your own words and make it your own piece as well. But it's just really easy. Just I would say that unless you have a program, which I'm assuming you're one-on-one coaching, just invite them to calls with you, whether that's a totally free kind of like value pack call, or it's something that's going to lead into the question of would you like to go further with this kind of thing, and just put that out. But like I say, look at the groups, look at how often you can actually advertise in those groups in terms of promo days or whatever, or if it's okay to. I definitely wouldn't do it every day if you're in non-entrepreneurial groups and they don't have the whole rules that a lot of the entrepreneurial groups have. Definitely don't do it every day, that's way too much. But like maybe once a week or something, but just make sure you're in there daily, offering the value, connecting with people in the group. And then if you're really helping the people in the group, and then once a week you say, hey, does someone want to get on the call with me about XYZ, I'm sure you're going to have loads of people jumping at the chance, I would imagine, like if you're really helping them in that group. So that's just a great way to do it. And like I say, any kind of like post you see in any of the entrepreneurial groups that you're in, and you like the feel of what they've done, you can try that, and just make sure obviously it's okay with the group owner. Try that in other groups as well and see how it goes. So I hope that's helped you. Just looking at the time, we're 40 minutes in. Please, if you've got any more questions, just ask me like afterwards, or anyone else, please do ask questions. But I will go for now, and I hope this has been valuable to you, and hopefully I'll come back next week and we'll do something on discovery calls or sales in general, because that is a big piece of it, obviously getting people in the door and then actually turning them into paying clients at the end of it. So I'll speak to you again really soon. Please introduce yourselves if you haven't already. I'll put a post out soon, and I'll speak to you again shortly. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.